What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and in today's video we will be talking about 10 cards in particular from the set Celebrations that have been doing phenomenally well the past week. They have been skyrocketing in value. We'll also be talking about some of the sealed product that goes along with them, as well as a couple of honorable mention sales. So if you enjoy the set Celebrations or this market in general, you're going to really love today's video. Folks, quick shout out to today's awesome video sponsors, the #1 global Pokemon TCG notification and investing community, PokeNotify. PokeNotify is the Discord server that offers you the fastest notifications on drops, restocks, and deals, covering hundreds of websites and all major regions across the world. With PokeNotify, you'll be one of the first to know about upcoming restocks, reprints, and information about future sets to be released. And they offer this at a very affordable price. You can test out their servers with a free 3-day trial, and after that, use code TOP10Pokemon for 25% off your first month. Don't be the last to know when inventory gets restocked. Sign up today. A link will be in the description of this video. Thank you so much for your support. Alright, first let's talk about some of the sealed product that has been selling recently, comparing it from what it was selling for a few months ago. Here we have a Celebrations Elite Trainer box. Now, back in May, this box was selling for around $102.50, another sale for $107. And recently, this box has almost doubled in value. Not quite, but just about doubled. Here's a sale recently this past week for $190, another one for $191, another one for about $192. So almost doubled in value. Now, when we look at certain collection boxes like this Zacian Level X, it used to sell for around $36. Nowadays sells for around $54. Here is the Lance's Charizard V collection box that was selling for around $41, but most recently has sold for like $61. And then we have this Dark Sylveon V, which is very similar to the Charizard collection box. It used to sell for $42. So nothing too significant with these particular boxes. However, when we look at this Dragapult Prime box, it used to sell for around $20 just a couple of months ago. But more recently, this box has almost tripled in value, selling in auction for about $58. However, these sealed box increases pale in comparison to some of these cards graded as a PSA 10. Let's get started off with this Birthday Pikachu that in PSA 10 was selling a couple months ago for around $65. Now, in today's market, it sells for about $142.50, and then we saw another sale for about $151, which is a nice 132% increase on this card. And check this out, folks. This card has a population of nearly 12,000 PSA 10 examples. Of course, this Birthday Pikachu is a reprint from way back when. This is the number 10 card in Celebrations that has had the most significant increase in the past week. Up next, we have this Lance's Charizard V in PSA 10. I'll be honest with you, not my favorite version of Charizard, but this card used to sell as a PSA 10 for around $59, and now it has nearly tripled in value, selling most recently for about $151, and that is a 156% increase in just a month or two. The number 8 card in today's video is the Reshiram from the Classic Collection. This guy was selling as a PSA 10 for only $61 just a few months ago, but in today's market it is selling for more like $152. Here's another sale for $157.50, which puts this at a nice 157% increase. Now, the newest White Flare and Black Bolt sets to be released may or may not have something to do with the prices of this card, along with the Zekrom, which we'll get to later in this video. I'm not sure if that's influencing these prices at all, but this is the number 8 card on today's list. Coming in number 7 was a card I've always thought was underrated from this set. It is the Dark Sylveon V that was selling a few months ago for about $56 as a PSA 10. Now has nearly tripled, like a lot of these cards, selling most recently for about $151, which puts this card at about a 170% increase from what it was selling for not that long ago. The number 6 card in today's list is the Shining Magikarp in PSA 10. Folks, you could pick this card up as a PSA 10 not that long ago for about $60 all day. Now it sells for more like $160. Here's another sale for $163.50, putting it at a nice 173% increase. And I gotta shout out my boy Anthony. He's been commenting on many of my videos over the past several months talking about how people are sleeping on this card. And buddy, you were right. I hope you picked up a lot because it would have paid off most certainly. This is the number 6 card on today's list. The number 5 card on today's list might take you by surprise. I know it took me by surprise. It's this Holo Mew in PSA 10. This is a run-of-the-mill Mew that you get from Celebrations packs, not even the Classic Collection. This card was selling for about $65, but now sells for more like $223, which is a very impressive 243% increase on this card. You might be thinking, why on earth would a card like this be selling for $223? Well, if we look at the pop report, there are only 166 PSA 10 copies of this card, which I find that really hard to believe, but hey man, the facts are right there. So this is a very, very low pop card from a set that's been graded. I mean, all the cards in this set have to have been graded thousands of times. This is a surprisingly low pop card and number 5 on today's list. Coming in number 4, we have that Zekrom I was talking about, the old school black and white full art Zekrom that was selling for about $64 as a PSA 10, and it went all the way down to about $43. But check out this, folks. It now sells for $162.50, which puts this at a 277% increase. The number 3 most impressive rise in value from Celebrations would have to be this Dragapult Prime card. And if you've watched me in the past, you know my disdain for Prime cards, but that's neither here nor there. This guy used to sell as a PSA 10 for about $42, all the way down to about $26 for a PSA 10 copy. So dirt cheap just a few months ago to get this guy in PSA 10. However, today it sells for about $107.50, which puts it at a 312% increase in a very short period of time. The number 2 card is this beautiful Mega Rayquaza EX, which is a reprint from the Mega Rayquaza from Roaring Skies. This guy was selling as a PSA 10 for only $41 pretty recently. However, we have seen sales of this card for $200 all the way up to $222, which is a massive 441% increase on this Ray. And I'll tell you what, folks, as of recently, Pokemon like Umbreon, Rayquaza, Gengar have been just through the roof. They are some of the most popular Pokemon, which has to be the driving force behind this price. Before we get to the number 1 card with the most insane percentage increase, let's go over just a couple of honorable mentions. Here we have the Charizard Holo that was selling for about $190, now sells for about $285, all the way up to about $298, which is a nice 57% increase. And it's also worth noting, this guy has a PSA 10 population of 27,369 copies. So, one of the easiest cards, one of the easiest modern cards, I think, to grade. How can you really argue there? We also have seen the Gold Star Greninja come up quite a bit. Used to sell for around $256, now sells for more like $450, all the way up to about $495, which is a 93% increase on this guy as well. And then we have the Gold Star Umbreon. So you have a Gold Star, it's an Umbreon, 2 very hot items in today's market. This card was ranging as a PSA 10 from like $135 all the way up to about $172. But today it sells for around $355 all the way up to about $360, which is a 109% increase on this Gold Star Umbreon. Which leads me to the number 1 craziest increase in value from Celebrations, both set cards and promos. It is this Mimikyu in PSA 10 that was selling a few months ago for about $75. But as of recently, we have seen some massive sales for this card. Here's one for $304, all the way up to $465, which is a staggering 520% increase on this Mimikyu. And much like that Mew, this is a rather low pop card, only having 600 PSA 10 copies as of the making of this video. And folks, let me just end this video by saying that not every card from Celebrations is skyrocketing. Cards like the Venusaur and Blastoise Holos, the Rockets Zapdos Holo, these cards are not really increasing a whole lot compared to the ones on this list. So not every card is blowing up from Celebrations, but these 10 right here are definitely the exception. What do you think about Celebrations? Please comment below. I look forward to hearing from you. That's all I got, folks, and I will catch you in my next one.